Hey everybody, this LEGO Friends set is called the Big Race Day, and it is the largest set from the racing and motorsports and car-related sub-theme for the summer of 2018. The set comes with 3 of these racing go-karts, and each one has its own themed launcher to go with it. The builds for these are all very, very similar, but they have small details that are different between them, and obviously the colors are different. But they're designed so that you can change the major parts between them very easily. Like you can take the bumper off very easily and just swap that over to another car. I can take this entire engine section back here off and swap it over with another vehicle. So those really are components that you can use for doing your own tuning and customizing. Here's Stephanie's racer as an example, and the build is pretty simple for each of these, so they go together very quickly and they're just really ready for customization. If you want to do any customization, of course you can just run them like this. It's just important that you keep a bumper on the back that is nice and smooth like that, because that actually works well with the launcher that they include. So each of these just has its own sticker and its own little color scheme, but again they are built pretty much the same. But this just fits, the bumper fits right into that little groove right there and makes it very easy for this to work properly. This is Mia's racer in its default configuration. She has the lightning bolt symbol on the front, which suggests that this is powered by electricity, but on the back looks like ultimately the fuel is something like a vegetable, or maybe yard trimmings from grass. I mean, there's kind of either a bottle there or a blender that has some green stuff in it, and I guess that's being used with some futuristic eco tech that's way better than anything we have today. So she puts basically vegetables into this thing and it converts it into usable energy, and she goes. Again, use your imagination a little bit, but you know, it's just changing things up. Here's the launcher for her, which again has the matching sticker on the front, and this is going to work exactly the same as the last one. These all are identical in their function. Vicky is the least well-known character in this set, and there she is in her go-kart. We'll take a closer look at the figures themselves a little bit later on, but this one is a big old gas guzzler with a huge engine on the back. It's got flames coming out of it, has a suggestion of possibly exhausts over on the side as well, or maybe those are just little spike details to make it look a little bit more intimidating. But again, you can just swap these pieces out. So if you want, you could actually kind of green this up by just swapping in a piece and, you know, kind of change her story a bit there. So she's a mean racer. She's very, very serious, very competitive, but she can actually be eco-friendly. At the same time, Mia can be environmentally conscious, but on race day, use a big old gas-guzzling engine because they're awesome. Vicky also gets her own themed, specially colored launcher, and again, works exactly the same, just looks a little bit different. This is obviously a starting line structure. They have the lights there that you need to wait for. You can actually put a figure up here at the top, although they don't include a 4th figure in this set. They only have the racers. But if you have another figure from your existing collection, then you can put one up there as the race director, or as an officiator, or maybe even just a guest flag bearer. This is a checkered flag that can actually be held in the hand of a figure. Just take it out of the clip right there. But there is a finishing line build I'll show you in just a second as well, so I don't know if you're going to be using that there. They also have a little megaphone, so that can be held in the hand of a figure. That makes more sense, and this is just access to get up there. There we go. This is the finishing structure, and this does make sense because some tracks do have different starting points than ending points, whether you're doing a point-to-point rally sort of event, or if you just have a specially designated starting area on your track. So this is fine, and you know, if you want to use this as the start-finish line, put the two together, you certainly can. Take one of those stickers off, one of these tiles, you know, however you want to do that. These are just a couple of barriers that will come up, so maybe as you drive through, you can bust through those and use that as an indication of who has as one, again, using your imagination a little bit. Be careful about the crossing of rabbits here. You don't want to run over any wildlife. And posed up here at the top, perched, is a drone, and that would be a camera drone that is taking footage of the race. Most importantly, the start. Those are the most exciting parts, but also the end as well. And you just take this off and you just fly it around yourself. They don't give you any clear stand to hold this in the air, but you can always add your own thing or just attach it any place you can find a stud that's exposed on pretty much any kind of build. I mean, you can put it up here, just the anti-stud. You can put it, just kind of set it over there. It'll also fit onto things that are bar shaped in size. Do whatever you want. This is the main build really in the set though, the main structure build, and it's all put together and it's fairly complete from multiple sides, so it's not one of those things that's just completely open on one side, although down at the base they do have it kind of halfway open. But I like how this is covered up, and I like the angled windows that they use here. You can actually open those windows from inside, so if it's a hot day you can get a little natural ventilation that way. Let's go ahead and look at some of the details down here. This side is intended to be a locker room, so we've got the 3 lockers for the 3 racers included in this set, and they would just be able to store their helmet in each of those. And use your imagination, this is where they would get all suited up in their full fire suits and race suits. That's one of the nicer water cooler, water dispenser builds I've seen. It's a little bit larger than LEGO usually does for their regular minifigures, but I think it works well for the mini dolls and has more detail than most of the builds of that sort that they've done in the past. Got some flowers decorating the entrance. We've got a small restroom over here, which is pretty simple. I mean, it has the the sink over on the right, toilet in the back, and a little bit different build for the toilet paper holder, the roll holder, and they've got a door on one side, so at least they're suggesting privacy a lot better than they usually do in these LEGO Friends sets. There's no clear door, and use your imagination to just assume that there is a full wall here. So that's an improvement over what they usually do, and I always like those stickers. I think they're just useful, and it brings in a little bit of realism. Around the front, this is decorated up to be a nice entryway. They've got a poster up there, and there's a sticker up above, so that's all good. Let's go up to the second level. This includes a podium, which can be used in several different ways. First of all, it can be used just like this to simply display the possible trophies that can be earned. You can also take those off and place the figures on there when it's time for actual podium celebrations after the race. This is also very easy to remove, so you can place it wherever you want, and you can also angle these flag bits on the sides all the way back. You can kind of fold them in. You can imagine that being a little bit of a mobile thing that gets put on a truck somewhere, but a nice little thing. Take that off and you get access to some additional space back here. It's intended to be a VIP lounge, and you see some outward facing speakers and just decorations, but I like this little space right here because that's actually a track for micro scaled radio controlled cars, and they have 2 controllers, so you can race 2 cars at once is the idea there. So here's one controller for the blue car. I'll show you the cars in just a second, but the other controller is over here. It's just a walkie-talkie piece with a sticker on a tile attached to it, but that's just a little track right there, and it's intended to have little cars running around on a little track, and it's not a slot car track because these controllers actually have full directional control, and there's a jump back there on one side. It's supposed to be a nice little scale model with some details of a building there and a pool and some trees. So that's actually really, really cool. And on the back, we've got a TV, which is probably showing either a race that's in progress right now or a previously recorded race. And over on the right side there, all the way over on the right, let me get my arrow right there. There's one of the cars. It's just the simplest little round tile piece on top of a roller skate, and the other car is right over there. So let me take one of those out. Actually, there, I took both of them out, put them onto the track, and made it look like the girls are actually racing against each other. So that's the whole idea of how this room works for the most part. The space in the front is also a very convenient place to put all of the pet animals included in this set, and I'll show you those up more closely in just a minute as well. Let me just finish looking at the building by showing you the roof, which also has some fireworks displays that are primed and ready to go. These are stud shooters, and the idea is that you would just fire off the little bits of, they're supposed to represent fireworks. It's supposed to be colorful. And, you can fire all those off and they go random directions up in the air. And, it's supposed to give you a little bit of actual physical celebration that you can see in real life rather than having to use your imagination for absolutely everything. It does not look as good from the other side, but it's okay. And I also wanted to point out that this is not designed to be separated into the upper level and the lower level. All of this is pretty well attached, so they don't have the usual just tiles and a few jumpers or a few small stud connection points here. These are really intended to stay like this. Oh yeah, I didn't show you this yet, did I? It's just a single sticker on the wall there, and you can pretty much see what it shows, but that is one additional detail. Sorry for missing it at first. The figures then, the mini dolls. Left to right, it's Stephanie, Mia, and Vicky. Now here it becomes very obvious that Stephanie and Mia are basically on the same team. They will race against each other, but ultimately they're working together to defeat Vicky, is what I would assume. The two on the left do have the same boots and the same basic pattern for at least one half of the upper part, the torso part with the racing jacket there. But I personally actually like Vicky's outfit a little bit better. I like the colors. She's got the gunmetal gray color used for the legs, and I like the gold for the boots as well. All three of these use the same helmet mold, which is new for 2018. And the reason that the chin is just a little bit short on these mini dolls is that helmet was designed to work also on a regular traditional Lego minifigure. So for the sake of compatibility, they had to kind of compromise just a little bit. And so if you look from underneath just a little bit on some of the figures, not all of them, you will sometimes see, depending on who you put it on, a little bit of the lipstick from the lower lip showing through like that. It's a little bit awkward, but I do appreciate Lego's desire to always make accessories work for mini dolls and minifigures at the same time. The same mold is used for the helmet all the way across. They're just changing the colors for the helmet part and for the hair part. Now the hair part is actually a rubbery material. It's kind of flexible, but the upper part is just a regular shiny plastic, and with those removed, now you can really see their faces. And yeah, that's just that. I think Vicky's is a new one. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. It might have been used previously in one of the DC Superheroes Girls ones. I didn't look that up. Of course, we can't forget about the animals. On the left, the dog is named Dash. In the center, the cat is named Vega. And on the right is the rabbit, Twister. Each of these has a head accessory, so kind of a hair mini doll accessory, which can also be used with the mini dolls themselves. And yeah, they're distinct. Certainly I think Vega is the most interesting looking one here, just has the most interesting print. It's a little bit simpler for the others, but the others are quite cute as well, and these are just using existing molds. You can assign each of these to one of the racers, or you can just have them be guests of the track. Or, if you really want to use your imagination, you could let these be the racers themselves. A little bit tough to get them to fit in the car or to stay in the cars, but with a little bit of modification, you can make it work. The two very last things in the set are an oversized winner's check, for winning the big race itself. It's one of those oversized ones that's just used for the photo ops at the end. But 10,000... Is it $10,000? No, it's probably 10,000 Lego currency units, which are, I don't know, they're a little bit funny. We have 37 of those are used to purchase just a single coffee. 100 of them are used to purchase just a single cookie, or maybe a hot dog, or a simple shake or something. So it's not as much money as it seems like, unless you want it to be. The thing on the right is an integrated radio control unit for the drone. So that's the controller for the drone, which includes the directional controls there and some trims, and also shows the live video feed from the drone. So one of those controls would be used to angle the camera separately, and that's a pretty cool accessory. So let me summarize things and give you my own personal opinions about this set, really, now that we've looked at all the details up close. I like it overall. I really like what they've done with the cars. They're simple builds, but they're really designed to be customized very easily and very quickly. That's a good thing. These launchers also work fantastically well. They launch the cars off nice and straight, and they're consistent from one to the next. I really like this entire upper section of this structure here, including the podium part off to the side. As simple as that is, it just looks nice. But there's so much useful stuff here, and you can really have fun in here. This lower level looks good from the outside, but there's not as much usefulness here as I would like, especially with the upper floor not being able to be removed to let you get in there. I think that if I had designed this set, I probably would not have included the bathroom. I mean, bathrooms are important things to have around, but it just doesn't seem like the best use of the pieces in this set. This whole lower floor has limited usefulness. This looks great up here. Would have been cool to take just the lockers and that really nice looking water cooler build and to integrate those off to the sides of a wider structure. And if there were pieces left over, which I bet there would be just in terms of the budget for the build, it would have been nice to have some actual track related things, you know, to really set up, to be able to set up a track just a little bit more than a start line and a finish line. You know, some of these little barriers, advertisements, or just, you know, suggestions of curbing, just a little something to give you the definition of a track, even if it's just a couple of straight sections. Because ultimately, this is designed to actually be used, to really be raced. That's why they give you these launchers here. You set up 2 or more of these, you know, they have more of them in the series, and you and your friends get together and you have a countdown, and then you all go. You're going to be starting from the start line. You're going to go straight. It's basically going to be a drag race. That's really why they have the start line and the finish line as 2 separate structures, even though, you know, most races with turns don't have that sort of setup. But that's really why they did it, which is smart. It's set up for actual, you know, play in person, which is really good. But I just wish they had some things for the sides. Otherwise, good stuff. Good figures. Would have been cool to include some hair pieces for the figures as well. I don't think that would have added too much to the cost of the set. Speaking of the cost, the price to part ratio here is really good, especially when you consider the inclusion of some relatively large pieces, you know, much larger than average sized pieces with those windows and some of the tall bricks that are used down here and the larger panels and stuff. So I think value with this set is very good. And you also get a couple of the roller coaster track pieces, which are very large and expensive. So yeah, good value, good play value here in general. I personally just would have redistributed some of that cost and some of that value out in slightly different ways. I love this stuff up here though. Again, everything up here this is all my favorite stuff here. But that's it for my look at this set. Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave your thoughts about the set in a comment down below. Talk to you again soon.